I bought the business during the pandemic and decided that the only thing that needed changing and updating was bringing the POS system in place so that you could really analyze your real-time numbers and really get a grip of what this business really could do.
How are you seeing your restaurant different, and why would someone pick you guys over the competition?
Number one, the way that we run our business is by far it's a great atmosphere. Our staff is well trained, very friendly, and the quality of products we use is by far better quality product than most of our competitors around here.
What would be the first business that you would start tomorrow?
I would say
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we can discuss how to grow 1% every day in both business and itself. We are breaking away from marketers and agency owners and looking to connect to business owners in the trenches and working on their business every single day. Today, we have Joshua Huggard, a restaurateur and an owner of Mr. Bartley's Burger Cottage. This family-owned business started in 1960 and has been serving some of the best burgers, frappes, and onion rings in the world. Known as the legend in Harvard Square, Mr. Bartley is a staple in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We're excited to sit down with Joshua to discuss how he created this restaurant, how he created such a legendary history behind the business. Thank you, Josh, for joining me today.
Yeah, how you doing? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. It's awesome to talk to restaurant owners like yourself. Again, if you guys can see the video right now, if you're on YouTube, he is in the restaurant as we speak doing this interview. It instantly put a smile on my face. It means that he is a part of his business. He loves what he does, and he created something that he can be proud of. So, Joshua, you want to give us a breakdown of kind of how this business started, why you became a restaurant owner, and a little bit of the background behind the business?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been in the restaurant industry about 30 years now. Mr. Bartley's was started in 1960 by the Bartley family, Joe Bartley. And when he took over what was a convenience store back in 1960 in Harvard Square, right across from Harvard University, he quickly realized that there was a niche they needed in Harvard Square, which was no one was doing burgers or sandwiches. So you think back in 1960, burgers were pretty American type food, but it wasn't as big as we know it is today. So he kind of had the intuition to look at that, being from New York, and saw that burger business was growing. He moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and started Mr. Bartley's Burgers with his wife, Joan Bartley. 3 generations later, about 2018, they decided to put it up for sale. And me being in the restaurant industry for over 30 years, decided that I would take a whack at it. I loved it, the industry. I've always loved the business, always heard about Mr. Bartley's, went there as a kid, went there in my teens. It's just a real institution in and around Cambridge, Harvard Square. And as you said, have accolades, not just locally, but, top 10 burgers in the United States by the Wall Street Journal. So we've gotten some really legit accolades. I bought the business right during the pandemic, and decided that the only thing that needed changing and updating was bringing it into the technological world that we live into today. When I took it over, they were still writing orders onto pads of paper and yelling it over to the cooks. It was quite chaotic, unorganized, and to be honest, it needed the POS system in place so that you could really analyze your real-time numbers and really get a grip of what this business really could do. I'm not saying it wasn't profitable in the past. They benefited on being in a A-plus location, being frequented by politicians, academias, celebrities, where we have a wall of fame here of people that have come here as far back as Johnny Cash and as current as Jeff Bezos and Conan O'Brien. So it's just an amazing restaurant here in Harvard Square, right across from Harvard. That's almost a museum when you walk in a burger dive, but also just done well. Done by great restaurant operators as myself and the staff that is here. Some employees have been here 30 plus years. Some have been here 10 to 15 years. So we have a longevity of people that really just care about the business in itself. So the business right now is now updated into the technological world. We're even bringing on the AI marketing piece of the business, and just seeing if this is now a scalable product that we can put into other college areas or other towns, cities. We'll see if it's something that can scale out.
Joshua, I love that. Coming into the business, again, you said it came in right during the COVID era, and being able to revolutionize great food into the 21st century, right? As you said, great positioning, great food, great ambiance. You can see from the background there, you guys have built something that is definitely a location that is desirable being inside of it, especially from the accolades of the celebrities that you've had there. So let's dive a little bit into your background, Joshua. I would love to pull through that a little bit and understand kind of where you came from in the restaurant industry, why you decided to make this purchase. Was it just location? Was it the amazing food you had there in the past? Give me a little background on you.
Yeah, so I mean, I started off in the restaurant industry and I started as most people did. I started as a waiter, got into that. Then I started to bartend, managing the restaurant, cooking a little bit, but got a little bit of a background in that and decided I wanted to be in this business. And fast forward a couple years later, and I had the opportunity with two childhood friends to create a pizza restaurant, which we grew to a 21 chain restaurant. And unfortunately, is we had a lot of success young in age and we were doing very good. But at the bottom line is at the end of the day, we really didn't know how to run a business and especially a restaurant business where margins are so razor thin and it's important to know your costs in all aspects. So if you want to fast forward a little bit, we ended up getting into some legal issues. I ended up having some partners that were not honest, and we got into a fight over stealing and different things like that. And just to go on, not so much about that, but I ended up having to go into corporate bankruptcy and then had to file for personal bankruptcy to get rid of all of the lawsuits and to clear my name from that business venture. That was a horrible time in my life at the time. However, that is what's molded me into being my businessman that I am today. So when you ask why Mr. Bartley's, well, this was the first opportunity I had to take over a business that would be with no partners and would just be on my own, which I really loved that opportunity. Later in life, after my failures with Upper Crust Pizza, which was the brand I had before, I decided to put myself into culinary school. I never wanted to feel victim to the chefs in the restaurant and not be able to kind of hang with them and show my talent and be able to kind of set the tempo. Happy to say that 15 years later, I have my degree. I've been a cook and a chef ever since. And there's not a lot of people that can go up against me in the restaurant or in the grill or anything like that. What really enticed me about Mr. Bartley's was it was during COVID and I was looking at creating a new concept. And then I kind of was looking at the climate and restaurants were closing left and right. And I decided maybe I don't want to start a brand new concept, but maybe I want to find something that is a little tired, that the family maybe wants to pass it on and has a legacy. And that's where Mr. Bartley's came in. I met with a broker. He brought this to me and it all looked great. Unfortunately, them not having the technology, they didn't have the numbers the way I would have loved them to be have given to me. However, I took a risk and I took it over. Now sales are growing year to year, month over month, year over year. And now it's just about reeling in all of the costs, making sure that you can survive in 2025 in such a fickle industry right now that's just raising costs, raising labor costs, as well as inflation and an uncertain future. So this is where I am now.
Thank you so much for sharing that. One incredible story through and through. I have a not at a grandiose understanding of where you were at, but a very clear understanding of going through those trials and tribulations. Young, I owned a restaurant young myself. And failed at it because I was young and didn't know my numbers. So for the restaurant owners and the entrepreneurs listening to this right now, that again, he going through multiple locations, building a huge franchise system like he had, and then having to restructure and relearn, you can hear the main point that as he's talking is the numbers, understanding your margins, understanding your numbers, understanding your waste cost, understanding the granular aspect of the business, not just the food. But then you took it to the next level. You went and got your own culinary degree. You decided to become a cook as well so that you could wear all the hats within the business and truly understand them. Super powerful, Josh. I mean, honestly, amazing story to hear. Awesome to hear that you guys are crushing today. And I bet, when you sit in that restaurant now, you sitting in a position of going through culinary school, you might look at it a little bit differently than prior, I'm assuming, when you first built the pub transfer.
Absolutely.
What was your changes that happened in your mentality of being a restaurant owner before and after going through that school?
I mean, as far as just being able to create anything I want as far as culinary goes in any aspect of culinary, whether it be from creating recipes, menu costs, to knowing the labor that goes involved, to knowing everything that, to just really understanding a busy restaurant on a Saturday night. And you have to have some type of empathy on top of the high standards you want to have. But it's busy and people, you need to be able to learn how to manage people and you need to learn how to really teach them and guide them, not just bark orders at them. You need to be able to be very relatable. People ask me all the time, how do you open a restaurant or how do you create anything in business? And the truth is there's no entrepreneurial guidebook besides know your business inside and out and work your ass off. And those two elements, and you're going to learn and then take whatever you're learning and apply it. But you've got to constantly be learning and constantly trying things.
I love that. Now let's dive in a little bit more into the business you have today. Let's dive into a little bit of obviously you came in and optimized the digital presence of the business. The first thing that you mentioned is that you needed to know your numbers better, so you need to have your POS system in place. And again, restaurant owners, if you're listening to this and you don't have these things in place, it is a necessity. To understand your numbers means you, especially in today's day and age, with the constant changing cost, the constant changing engagement, your chargebacks, your employee costs, your waste costs. There's so many data points that go into being a restaurant owner. You have to have these numbers down to really know, are you being profitable or not? Because restaurants can run for months on end without being profitable until you see that your bank is about to break. And that's usually when they start making adjustments, where Joshua here is really hitting on the details that matter to ensure your restaurant is successful and continues to run. So let's talk a little bit, Joshua, today. Kind of how are you looking at the business? What are you doing differently when it comes and say to some of your competitors within the Harvard area? How are you seeing your restaurant different, and why would someone pick you guys over the competition?
I mean, I would say that number one, the way that we run our business is by far just it's a great atmosphere. Our staff is well trained, very friendly, and our products and the quality of products we use is by far better quality product than most of our competitors around here. We work very hard though to watch our labor costs and our cost of goods sold. So I am constantly comparing prices and recipes and costs online. I have all my recipe cards in place so that I know my costs of every burger, of every sandwich, every wrap, with add-ons, without add-ons, and really understanding that. And the other portion is your labor. You really need to be able to have great people, but you need to train them and you need to make them great. And you need to get to that mentality of, is it going to take 3 people to do the same amount of money or 4 people to do the same amount of money? And you want to constantly be challenging your staff to do as much as they can with as little people as they need, and just be as efficient as possible. So that's one thing that I definitely would say that we've done very well here. The other thing is just staying during COVID, people had to learn a lot about their businesses, and you had to create second, third, and fourth different types of revenue streams. Being a burger restaurant in the past, we didn't have a lot of delivery. It was never really a thought. And if people aren't taking advantage of the DoorDash, Grubhubs, and Uber Eats and the Seamlesses of the world, it is really here to stay. And people are opting more for delivery now than I've ever seen before. And they're not comparing the prices to in-house as well. You can charge more on the delivery, and it helps the revenue streams there. The other one is we're creating a cloud kitchen now, which is basically a ghost kitchen where we can create virtual brands, and it's going to be 100% a delivery, takeout, and a catering hub, because there's huge revenue in the catering business as well as the delivery. So we're constantly innovating here at Bartley's and trying to find other revenue streams that will just keep the business afloat, help us go. And whether that is brick or mortar restaurants in the future or if it's cloud kitchens, I'm not sure yet. But you've got to definitely stay on top of things and really start to bring in a lot of this AI marketing, different types of marketing, thinking outside the box. The script is changing daily, so you got to be on top of it.
I love it. Constantly evolving, constantly innovating, and ensuring that you're moving with the times. As you know, the listeners out here, you hear them go off. He understands where the dollars are going. The dollars are going towards delivery. The dollars are going to convenience for the customers, not just the quality of food. Still got to have the quality of food. If you don't serve a good meal, you don't get a second or third or fourth purchase, right? But the dollars are being changed. The way people consume food is being changed and adapting. Let me ask you, Joshua, you seem like you're on the cutting edge of the changes and the adaptations that are happening within the hospitality industry. Where do you see the industry going in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? You mentioned ghost kitchens, which I think are a huge factor when it comes into this delivery. But do you feel like we're going to lose the importance of the restaurant ambiance and it's going to be more at home feel? Or do you think restaurants are going to have to adapt over the next 3 to 5 years for something different?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that I think about all the time. And right now, I'll tell you right now, as a restaurant that's smack dab in the middle of Harvard Square with Harvard University right across the street, in a very urban setting where there's lots of volume, I have a lot of foot traffic, lots of businesses. Monthly, we are profitable, but we're not where we need to be profitable to make this not to sort of cross the line between a successful business and a fun hobby. And you want to really get that distinction. So the things that we have to put in place in here and in any restaurant, you need to come from the 30-30-20 rule. And basically you need to have your labor costs have to be 30% or below. Your cost of goods sold has to be 30% or below. And then everything else, your accounting, your fixed costs, your rents, everything else needs to be 20%. So if you can hit that 30-30-20 rule, that will leave you 20% net profit at the end of the month. Now, it's a lot harder than easier said than done. But if you can keep that in place and look at those numbers daily, you have to challenge your staff, challenge yourself to really hit those analytics. And if you can hit those analytics, your business will be huge, because it doesn't matter if you have a line down the street in a restaurant that's doing huge volume. If you're not keeping up the costs, if your costs are way out of line, your business is going to be out of line. Now, going forward as to what is the future, I don't know if it's brick and mortar. Like you said, delivery, you can be at home now and you have full streaming abilities from your TVs. You have computers and video games at your fingertips. You can contact any of your friends and basically have them in the room with you. You can order anything from Twinkies to lawnmowers online and get it delivered to your house. You can get marijuana and any other thing you want in most states delivered right to your door. So most people are now saying, I don't need to go out as much. Or if anything, we're going to have people come over and we're going to bring the food to us because we can get anything delivered. And now you can get bundles where half your guests can get from this restaurant and the other half can get from this restaurant. It all comes together. But that's going to be one thing where that's not going to change. It's going to get worse and more people are going to do delivery. And that's a good thing, I think. Brick and mortars, I think you're going to see a lot more food halls and community type food places, meaning that you go into a place and they'll have everything from a big bar, live entertainment, games, different things like that, and then different restaurant kiosks and sort of a fun high-end food court, if you will, or the big food halls that I'm seeing. And the other one is the cloud kitchens that I'm seeing, the virtual brands. The beauty of having a ghost kitchen where you have a delivery hub is you can now start to create as many virtual brands as you want. So I can create Mr. Bartley's burgers, but I could also create Josh's burgers. I could create Josh's barbecue. I could create Mr. Bartley's wood-fired pizza. As long as I have the equipment at that ghost kitchen, people go online and it's no longer that you know the brand you want to go after. You're looking online and you're looking at what's popping out at you. What food looks the best from the pictures? And that's what's driving people to order the food. The days of it going on and saying, oh, I know exactly what I want. People are shopping on it. It's almost, I heard a funny comedian say that, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats at night is like the new food Tinder. It's basic, go fun, get anything you want at any time you want. And, but anyways, so I don't know, but that's where I think the industry's going. And unless real estate and costs go down, brick and mortar's in a lot of trouble right.
I think you got the next app. The food Tinder might be the way to go. I mean, just swipe right and decide what I'm going to eat tonight. It sounds absolutely awesome. But, a nitbit out of this that makes sure that entrepreneurs, restaurant owners, the business owner listeners right now, the 30-30-20 rule. You heard him break that down, understanding that 30% of your cost is cost of goods, 30% of your cost is cost of employment, and 20% is the overhead and everything else. And if you're not hitting those numbers, you're not going to hit profitability. Thank you, Josh. That was an awesome way to break that down and a very, very clear understanding of what the restaurant owners need to look at. So I want to dive in a little bit to the lessons. You've gone through an incredible story, right? You've developed a system where you learned business quick. You developed multiple locations. You found success. Then you found failure and you rebuilt your life afterwards to create where you are at today. If you could pinpoint one lesson, one thing you learned either in Bartley's or the previous industry that you're in, previous company, one lesson that you learned that stuck with you throughout the process that made you a better restaurantrepreneur or a better business owner in general that you could share with maybe either a story or a lesson to our listeners here, what would it be?
Number one, it would be know your business. Try to know every aspect of that business. And especially if you're going to go into business, you've got to understand that you're going to fail. You're going to hit speed bumps and you're going to bang into walls, but you need to ask for help and you need to ask for good help. You need to source it out. You can't be self-righteous and think that I can do it all myself. It takes a village and you need great people in that village to help you with everything you do. So, I mean, I would say that that's the number one thing right there to know.
Okay.
And the other one is, you have to have perseverance. You got to be able to know that you're going to get kicked down and you just got to bounce back up and you got to just keep going for it. I know that I am, on my new adventure and everything is going well, but am I where I want to be yet? No, but I know that if I stay focused and I keep going and keep just kind of pounding the pavement, it's going to eventually, I'll get to that place. But you got to kiss a lot of frogs and you got to just keep going at it. And you got to, perseverance would definitely be the number one thing.
Joshua, I love that. And it leads directly into my next question, which is, how do you find your Kaizen? For the listeners out there, the agency I created plus this podcast here is all based on continuous improvement. The term Kaizen is a Japanese business philosophy that means 1% improvement every day in both business and in self. Some of us find this by mentoring around the right people, being in the right social circle. Other people find this through podcasts and YouTube videos and things of that nature. But Josh, you're obviously on the cutting edge of not only being a great business owner, but also a great restaurant owner, which are two different things, right? You can be a great business owner and not know a restaurant. You can be a great restaurant owner and not know business. You have both down and have built a beautiful system. So my question is to you, how do you find your constant improvement? What do you do as an individual and as an entrepreneur to ensure that you are on the cutting edge for both your restaurant and your personal self?
Ah, gosh. I mean, I found my passion with food, and I think that's a big part of it. I've always loved the hospitality industry and helping please people, but then I really fell in love with the business part of it. And I think that a lot of it is just having that kind of inner peace with yourself and knowing that tomorrow's a new day and I can recreate myself at any point. A lot of times you can have the worst day of your life and in work. And as I'm driving home, I have the opportunity to choose, how do I want to show up to my wife and my kids at the end of this day? Do I want to come home and start bitching about minute things at work? Or do I want to go in there and be fun and lively? And I think it's really recognizing in business is what is aggravation and what is a problem. And a problem is when you get that life-changing call that can change your life forever. Someone is ill or something tragic has happened. Aggravation is everything else that happens in business, in love, in day to day, or family, friends, whatever. So I think I get mine really just from trying to sit back and not standing so close to the mirror always, and know that it's a big world out there and there's lots of opportunity. And the best one is that I have the opportunity to choose how I want to be moving forward at every second of every day, what I would say.
Incredible. Remind me of Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. I mean, it really just a great breakdown of being in the moment, being yourself, being in one with what you are doing, and making sure that you don't get overwhelmed by the small situations and make sure you keep trekking forward. Incredible and great advice for all the entrepreneurs and business owners out there, because that I can promise you resonates with me and resonates with all of you if you own a business, that we do hit brick walls, we do get smacked in the face. And it's the ones that continue to push forward, to strive, to find a betterment, to go through the flames that become a better business owner, a better restaurant owner, and a better individual all around. Like you said, you didn't just mention the restaurant, you mentioned how you come home to your family. And that's such a beautiful and powerful thing, Josh. So absolutely love it. I got one last bonus question for you. Now, ever read the book Atlas Shrugs?
Atlas Shrugs?
Yeah.
No, I have not. No.
No, don't recommend it. Super big book, like massive. It's basically a whole story, but the concept of it is incredible. So the concept of Atlas Shrugs, for Josh and the listeners out there, it says that us as business owners, you, Josh, myself, and all the other business owners and entrepreneurs out there, we put the world on our shoulder and move the world forward every single day with our businesses. Ideas and concepts are great, but without putting them into business practices, they don't actually change the world. So Atlas Shrugs is a book that explains what would happen to the world if all of us business owners just walked away. If we just stepped away from our companies and allowed the rest of the world to deal with it and run it, and we just took the pressure of having employees and dealing with waste and dealing with the numbers of the restaurant off of our shoulders and said, we're done. So, Josh, my question is to you. If today Atlas Shrugs and we all stepped away from our business, you stepped away from your restaurant, all your competition walked away, the restaurants were still there, the home improvement materials were still around, but nobody was building houses anymore. If that happened today, Josh, what would be the first business that you would start tomorrow?
The first business I would start tomorrow, I would say I would definitely want to start something food related that would try to gap the income inequality in the world and allow people to get fed and to be able to enjoy food from all over the world without any barriers in the way.
That is beautiful. Absolutely. And it tells two major things about you, Josh. And I love this question. I ask this question to all my interviewers because it gives a core understanding of the why. Why do you do what you do? And if you had a chance to start all over and you reset everything and there was zero competition, would you still do it? Would you still go back to doing what you are today? And your first answer was, I'm going to go and do food, but not just do food, but do food that I'm able to help support the world and give amazing quality food to everybody out there because they deserve to have great food. So, Josh, thank you so much. I mean, that's a beautiful answer. And all the people that are in your local area are in such a good position to have you around, to have a restaurant owner like yourself that cares about the quality of the food, that cares about the ambiance, that cares about the growth of your restaurant and the quality that you give to the local customer. So if they're in the local area, how can these people connect with you? How can they come in and have one of the best burgers in the United States?
Yeah, well, we're Mr. Bartley, Mr. Bartley, .com. That's MRBARTLEY.com. We're located 1246 Massachusetts Avenue in Cambridge, Mass, smack dab in the middle of Harvard Square, where Harvard University is right here. So it's always a great tourist destination when you do come to Boston or Cambridge area. And look for us online as we're going to be growing these cloud kitchens and ghost kitchens, and hopefully become, throughout everyone's world at some point.
Absolutely love it. All that information, as well as his direct locations, can be found in the description below, guys. If you watch through this video, especially if you have a question for Josh, I know as a previous restaurant owner and now working with hundreds of restaurants across the US, talking to an individual like him gives me this peace of mind and the solitude that there are great restaurant owners out there that are not only trying to grow their restaurant, but help the world with good food. So, Josh, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it. If you guys have finished this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.